Virgin Galactic founder Richard Branson just became the first billionaire to fly his own spacecraft. The winged rocket ship was carried by a mothership to around 50,000 feet before detaching and then blasting to a peak altitude of 57 miles above the Earth, and then it returned to land about an hour later back here. But beyond being the ultimate billionaire's joyride, will commercial space travel take off as an industry accessible to the rest of us? Joining us are local astronomer, planetary scientist, and space enthusiast Mark Hammergren, Alan Root, senior writer at Barron's, where he writes about the commercial space industry, among other things, and Phil McAllister, NASA's director of commercial spaceflight. Welcome all of you gentlemen here to Chicago tonight. Alan Root, how significant is this achievement? Richard Branson and 3 crew members reaching 57 miles in their own Virgin Galactic-built spaceship.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for the question. Now, I didn't want to intentionally throw cold water on this, so I put it like this. You know, in May 2020, Elon Musk, the first U.S. launch, the first crewed U.S. launched in the space shuttle, was retired. You know, he took 2 people to the International Space Station. You know, I called that a 10 out of 10 on the excitement meter. You know, this to me was sort of a 6 out of 10 on the excitement meter. It's very significant, very impressive. That's not to denigrate what just happened. It was very cool. If we call the Branson flight a 6, you know, a normal day in the stock market is a 1 or a 2. So it was another amazing step in the commercial space industry. That's where I put it on my level of excitement.
And Phil McAllister, so we mentioned Elon Musk, SpaceX, and the work that it's been doing with NASA. Why is it important for NASA to contract with companies like SpaceX to do this essential work?
Well, in that case, for the spacecraft that we launch our astronauts to the International Space Station, those are very expensive. They're very technologically advanced systems. So we felt like the best way to go about doing that was through a public-private partnership where NASA could bring our expertise of 50 years of human spaceflight, partner with the private sector, who was very conscious of speed and cost efficiency and innovation, and really get the best out of both worlds. And it was very effective. We now have the SpaceX system that can launch people to orbit and to the International Space Station. We've already done that 2 or 3 times, and now we've seen missions for them to sell commercially to orbit. So that was a very effective way for us to interact with the private sector. For the spacecraft that flew yesterday, Virgin Galactic, and one later this month, Blue Origin, those were developed entirely by the private sector.
Yeah, go ahead. I was just saying that's Jeff Bezos' company, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Those systems were developed entirely by the private sector. NASA did not partner with those. So there is no one way for NASA to interact with these private sector organizations. It really depends on the mission or the particular product offering that needs to get developed.
Mark Hammergren, we've mentioned so far the 3 big public faces of these private space companies, Richard Branson, Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos. So what are their ultimate ambitions with these endeavors?
Well, they differ, and it's kind of interesting. You look at Richard Branson; he's probably the most flamboyant of the crew, and his goals appear to be the most grounded. Not to use that pun. He's definitely looking at commercial viability of Virgin Galactic. Now, it is due to his eccentric billionaire's pockets that Virgin Galactic was able to take almost 20 years to get up into space with him aboard. The others, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, they seem to be more oriented towards getting humans into a permanent presence in space. Elon Musk, of course, has made much of getting humans to colonize Mars, to spread humanity out there to another planet. But Jeff Bezos has similar goals, getting humanity into space.
And those are the big, overarching, long-term goals. But Alan Root, I mean, there are other reasons that these companies want to expand into this business, especially in low Earth orbit. I mean, it's not just space tourism for the rich. There are a lot of different functions that they can be a part of, correct?
Right. So, you know, I liken this, the way I would break it down very simply is, you sort of take like the industrial space industry and the commercial space industry. You have a variety of businesses like SpaceX, launch services, small satellites. They want to do Earth imaging. They want to do mobile communications. They want to do low-cost Wi-Fi across the globe. Those are applications that are possible because of falling costs in reusable rockets. And then, those also have benefits in the commercial business or the consumer business and the opportunity for people to become astronauts. Now, not exactly the question, but what I would hope and think would be a great future is not necessarily it only be like a $250,000 ticket for people to get up into space, but for that to come down and it to become like a vacation opportunity for more people. But you have sort of lower costs enabling like a whole bunch of new businesses on, we'll call it the industrial side or the non-consumer side, and then a Richard Branson type enterprise enabling a business on the consumer side.
And Phil McAllister, NASA has been essential to research in so many of these things that we just mentioned. So what kinds of things does NASA plan to partner with these companies and other companies now and in the future to continue this kind of research?
We're just starting to scratch the surface on that. These capabilities were not available to NASA prior to just this year. So we have just begun a program to determine what might be appropriate for us to use these suborbital spacecraft for. You can imagine doing some scientific experiments with that 3 or 4 minutes of microgravity. You could also do it for sort of tool development. If you want to take a tool or some sort of mechanism up to the International Space Station, you want to make sure it works in microgravity because you don't want to take it all the way up there and have to bring it back if it doesn't work. So you could use these 3 or 4 minutes of microgravity to make sure that these tools or mechanisms work. You could also see it for maybe true crew training. We have a very good training program for NASA astronauts, but you could see maybe using this 3 or 4 minutes to maybe practice putting on a spacesuit or a glove or some other type of crew activity. So there's a myriad of ways we think we could leverage these capabilities. And the good thing about it was NASA didn't have to develop this ourselves. That's what I think we at NASA really see this as being advantageous. Previously, we had to build everything ourselves. It just didn't exist. Now, with the private sector taking on this responsibility and developing these capabilities themselves, we can just buy a ticket just like everybody else. And we think that's pretty cool.
So, and these companies, deep pockets and a lot of innovation that can happen. So, Mark Hammergren, back to the space tourist part. Alan Root mentioned it's $250,000 to fly on this Virgin Galactic flight. I think Jeff Bezos sold an auction ticket for $28 million. Do you think this will ever come down so the rest of us can afford this one day?
Well, looking at Virgin Galactic, I think Virgin Atlantic is a good comparison here. People can spring for international plane travel. So families can do that kind of thing. That's in the realm of ordinary people. So then you go to like specialty cruises, okay, maybe an order of magnitude, 10 times the cost. That's what people might be able to spring for. You do another 10 times that to 100,000, that begins to be very, very rarefied. So I think the price is going to have to come down by at least a factor of 10, if not more than that, to be really opening up to the public.
So it's not just a race to space, but it's a race to bring that price down and to innovate so that more people can enjoy those few minutes up in low microgravity, as you put it there. Very fascinating. All right, our thanks to Mark Hammergren, Alan Root, and Phil McAllister.
Nice to talk to you.